When I was first elected county executive, I identified safer streets as one of my top priorities. Today, I am pleased to announce our progress, that is, by the numbers. For the last 7 years, since I've been county executive, none of what you will hear happened by accident. When I assumed the office, Montgomery County was spending far beyond its means, over a 30% increase in 3 years before I became county executive. We had to stop unsustainable budgets. Then, of course, we were hit by the Great Recession that laid low the entire nation, including Montgomery County. Despite these challenges, we made public safety a priority. Between 2007 and 2014, our tax-supported county government budget went up just 12% over 7 years. Repeat that. It went up just 12% over 7 years. But our spending for the police department more than doubled. That is approximately 28%. We opened our Family Justice Center to establish a one-stop shop to better serve families who are victims of domestic violence. My Positive Youth Development Initiative, a joint effort of the Police, Recreation, and Health and Human Services Department, has established award-winning after-school programs aimed at at-risk youth, provide resources for intervention to pull kids out of gangs and resources as well as suppress gang activity. And despite the trying economic times, we have increased the full-time position in the department, sworn and civilian, by more than 100. I'll have a little bit more to say about that on March 17th when I announce our 2015 operating budget. For 2013, serious crime was down 7%, and all crime down by 9%. But there's more. Over the first 7 years, serious crime was down 33%. Let me repeat that, 33%. That's more than twice the decrease in crime nationally for the same period. The total of all crimes in the county over the past 7 years were down 27%. That's almost 3 times lower than the national average. That's great news. I want to say thank you in a big way to Chief Manger and for all of those in law enforcement, the state's attorney, and certainly to the county council. Councilmember Rice is here. She's the head of the Public Safety Committee, Councilmember Phil Andrews. All of us work collaboratively in order to ensure the results that we see today. And I also want to say a special thanks to the men and women of our police department for their outstanding work. You all have worked hard, and you've worked creatively and smart in many ways in order to ensure that we provide the best safety possible for the people of Montgomery County. Montgomery County is not about to rest on our laurels, however. Any crime, just one crime, is too many. We need to keep the investment, we need to continue to work collaboratively, and we need to make certain that we are working smarter. Before I introduce Chief Manger, I'm going to introduce our State's Attorney, John McCarthy, to say a word. John?
Thank you. Good morning. It was somewhat unusual because of the circumstances in which I've had an occasion to speak to the media recently, because it seems that if something is going to be unusual or bizarre, the crime seems to occur in Montgomery County. But the reality is, the real news is the great news that we're here talking about today, is that the fact that crime has actually decreased to over 26% in the last 7 years. And again, echoing the words of the county executive, that does not happen by accident. There is great collaboration between all 4 individuals you see here. I know I blow up the chief's phone many times, all kinds of hours of the day, talking about various matters, and we speak very candidly with one another about a lot of things that we think make this community a safer place. I feel I have the same right to call either Craig or the county executive, and I do that regularly, and I think the collaboration we have is in some measure the groundwork we need to lay to get to where we are today. We've been in tough times, but I think, and I want to thank the county executive for prioritizing public safety. Look, we have merely as two simple examples. We've got the Family Justice Center, which is a one-stop center for providing services to the victims of domestic violence here in the community. We have made an unprecedented investment in that particular facility. And even last year, we expanded that facility when an opportunity came about to expand our services at the FJC. I want to thank the county council, Mr. Andrews from Public Safety, as well as the county executive for helping us make that happen. I'd also tell you the Positive Youth Initiative that has been a hallmark of what the county executive has worked on, working with and making sure that we have outlets for our young people in the community, because everybody knows if you're going to be committing crime in the community, typically it's between the ages of 15 and 25. That's your most active group that's committing crime in the community. We've got to do things with these young people to ensure that we are strategically making this a safer community. Probably the person who deserves the most credit is the chief. Tom Manger is to the right here. Let me tell you, the men and women in this police department are magnificent. They're absolutely terrific. I would argue that we might have the best chief of police in the entire country here in Tom Manger. And I will tell you, strategically, they've planned to address issues in the past like burglary and auto theft. They're planning in the future for dealing with other issues like the continuing gang presence in the county. We're talking about issues about how we're going to meet the challenges with our emerging senior community. And we do this along with the county executive as well, because you don't get to where you are by accident. It's because you are forward-thinking and you're proactive in what you're doing. And lastly, I want to thank President of County Council now, Mr. Rice. I know his family originally because his family was a victim of a very serious, very famous crime here in the county. He gets it, and it's great to have someone over in the county council that we can reach out to who is sensitive to the issues of law enforcement and is going to be there supporting both the police and the county executive and the state's attorney's office in our effort to make this a safer place. But again, congratulations, Ike, on these numbers. Congratulations, Chief.
Let me now introduce Council President Craig Rice. As I indicated before, this is a collaboration with the County Council. We make recommendations, we provide insight and work along with our law enforcement agencies to make sure that the County Council responds to our requests and our demands for the resources that we recommend. They have been active in this endeavor and have provided a great deal of leadership over the years.
Thank you very much, Mr. County Executive, and I'm going to be brief in terms of my statements. Let me just say this is a great day for Montgomery County. It's a great day for the citizens of Montgomery County. It's a great day for community because it shows that we indeed do listen and are responsive to the needs that have been espoused by a number of our residents. And let me just highlight some examples for you before I turn it over to the Chief. Damascus, an area that was plagued with some of the drug problems. The chief, in his response, cleaned up Damascus Gardens, really put their foot down when it came to not accepting that this area would be plagued with drug dealers that were targeting a lot of our youth and children when it came to our heroin epidemic and some of our opiate drugs, and made a difference. Montgomery Village, another area in which we had seen a spike and a rise in crime in the local area, and the community had come together and demanded that we do something, and we responded as well in that situation. This is an example of the county executive, the county council, and your police department working together hand in hand to make sure that this community of Montgomery County is well protected and well served. And this is a great example of how when we work collaboratively together, we can do great things. And so I just want to highlight for those that are listening that this is going to continue throughout the year. We have a great number of things that we are working collaboratively on. You're going to see this as a tenet throughout the year of how when we work together, the county executive and the county council and all of my colleagues on the council deserve credit, including the chair of the Public Safety Committee, that we are, and we get it, we understand that we are one. We are one Montgomery, and we're very happy to have the leadership of the county executive and the leadership of Chief Manger, as well as, when it does come to these crimes, and making sure that they're prosecuted, making sure that these people are put away for the crimes that they commit, our state's attorney, John McCarthy. So, again, this is a great day for us, an example of how government works well for its community.
Thank you. Let me now introduce, John said he believed that we have one of the best chief of police in the country. I know we have the best, and let me introduce him because he's the person behind all of what we've seen here, working with his men and women of the department to ensure that we have the safety of Montgomery County. Chief Manger. Chief?
Thanks. I appreciate all the kind words from the county executive and council president and the state's attorney, but let me give you a civics lesson here. A police chief has three responsibilities: to hire the right people, to invest in their training, give them the resources they need to do the job, and then hold the people accountable for doing their job. And make no mistake, the men and women of this police department, the patrol officers pushing that cruiser around every day, the detectives who are investigating the cases, the supervisors that are making sure officers and detectives are doing their job, they're the ones that deserve the credit for the superior law enforcement and service to the public that goes on here every day. And I'm privileged to serve with them. I want to talk a little bit about why I think that our crime rate went down so much over the past year and has gone down so much over the past several years. There's a lot of factors involved, and I think anybody that studies the root causes of crime could tell you that when you look at education levels, when you look at population density, you look at the levels of poverty, you look at a host of factors, they all play into crime rates. And when you look at the investments that Montgomery County has made in their school system, in crime prevention, in addressing mental illness and other things like that, you start to see that this is not just about what the police department has done. I do think we play a critical role, and I'm going to talk about some specifics of things that we've done, but this is really a comprehensive effort by the county to address some of the root causes of crime, and I think we're really seeing some great results with the investments that we're making in education and the economic development of the county, and just there's a host of things that support the work the police department's done. I think if I had to pick the biggest initiative that has assisted us in reducing crime in recent years, it's what we within the police department call our sector plans. Years ago, we identified a very specific trend about where crime occurs in Montgomery County. And you can look at some areas of the county, and there is little to no crime in those areas. You look at other areas of the county, and you see that there is the crime rate is certainly much higher than we'd want it to be. And we identified those specific areas of the county that had the highest crime rates, and we developed a strategy tailored to those specific areas. And what was right for some areas around White Oak and Silver Spring was not exactly the same as what we were going to try and accomplish in some of the areas around Wheaton. And what we're doing up in Germantown is not exactly the same as what we're doing in some of the areas in Gaithersburg. Each sector plan was tailored to address the issues that the community was dealing with in terms of crime and safety. And one of the cornerstones of these sector plans was to increase the number of police officers working in those areas. And we started off with really a pilot program, what we called the IDA sector plan, because the IDA sector was the highest crime area in Montgomery County at the time. And the county executive and the county council were able to give us additional resources that we specifically targeted those areas. That's where those officers were assigned. And we saw dramatic decreases in the crime rate, the violent crime rate and crime overall in that area. So we knew that this was a strategy that had the potential to work not only in what was then the worst area of the county, but it would work in other areas where we were having higher crime rates as well. So our sector plans, we have now, and with we are now in the final lap, if you will, of finishing up the sector plans for all of the areas that we had identified years ago as the higher crime areas. And I think it's going to make a tremendous difference in those particular neighborhoods and communities. We've also rebuilt our school resource officer program. There was a time when, unfortunately, with some of the cuts that needed to be made countywide in the budget, due to the economic circumstances, we pulled back a little bit, and in fact pulled back more than a little bit on our school resource officer program. We knew at the time it wasn't something we wanted to do, but it was something that we unfortunately was one of those tough choices that we had to make. We have now rebuilt our school resource officer program so that we have a police officer in every single high school. And let me say that it's not just the Montgomery County Police Department. When we talk about the impact that crime has and the response to crime in Montgomery County, you're talking about all of public safety agencies that work together as a team. And it's not just Montgomery County. It's the Sheriff's Department. It's Gaithersburg City, Rockville City, Tacoma Park. All of those agencies work seamlessly with us. Our federal partners, everybody contributes to that public safety effort in the county, and we're very pleased that we have that kind of relationship with these other law enforcement agencies, and it benefits the residents of Montgomery County. We several years ago we created what we call the PCAT team, the Police Community Action Team. And it began as one team. We expanded it to two, and this was a team of officers. It was supervisors and a team of officers that would go where we were seeing spikes in crime. If we had a rash of burglaries in the neighborhood, if we had a spike in stolen cars in a particular area, the PCAT team would be dispatched and would work that area for a week, 2 weeks, a month, however long they needed to be there to address those spikes in crime. Again, a proven strategy that resulted in an immediate response and immediate results in terms of arrests, in terms of preventing further crimes from occurring in those particular areas. So one of the decisions we made a couple years ago was that this PCAT team, which was a county-wide unit and went all over the county, wouldn't it be great if every district commander of all of our six district stations had one of those community action teams at their disposal, so that when they had a spike in crime in a particular neighborhood, they had a team of officers that they could immediately, didn't have any other responsibilities for calls for service, but they could immediately dispatch that team to address those spikes in crime. And we're in the process of adding those DCAT, what we call the district community action teams, the DCAT teams, to every district station. We've got half of them done. We're going to finish that up hopefully in the coming budget year. But again, a proven strategy that has had a real impact in terms of decreasing our crime numbers. A number of years ago, we started our own CompStat process. CompStat was made famous in New York. And the purpose of CompStat meeting, which we have every Tuesday morning at police headquarters, is to bring the district commanders in and hold them accountable for the crime and the activity that's going on in their district. And we have the latest crime numbers. We have diagrams and maps of where crimes are occurring. And every week, these commanders need to come in and talk about what's going on in their district and what they're doing about it. This puts a great deal of pressure for the district commanders and the district stations to react quickly to spikes in crime and when we have increased activity in crime. And again, this I think has been an effective strategy in terms of reacting quickly to crime issues that occur. There's little things that we do, and no pun intended. One station in particular started what they called the Petty Crimes Unit, and this was, just a small unit of a detective or two that would look at crimes like folks that were breaking into cars and stealing stuff out of cars. Things that typically didn't get a detective assigned to them. And we had one station that decided they had enough of these types of crimes. They were going to assign a detective to that. And this detective ended up making a fair number of arrests. And it ended up they could see these petty types of crimes, thefts from autos, started going down in that district. Well, now other district commanders have decided that this petty crimes unit is a great idea. Again, a strategy that was giving great results in one district station. We're now expanding it to additional district stations. It's a small thing, but it's one of those things that taken with everything else we're doing, keeps us heading in the right direction in terms of decreasing crime. Let's not lose sight of technology. License plate readers, the mobile automated fingerprint system that we have. All of these are crime-fighting tools that have really helped us combat crime. John McCarthy mentions the fact that stolen autos have gone down dramatically over the last several years. Well, one of the reasons is my cops are just driving around now, and with the license plate reader technology, if a car goes by that's been reported stolen, it pops right up there. This kind of technology has really helped us identify folks that are stealing cars, and we're recovering more cars. License plate readers help us with wanted people. If someone's got a warrant for their arrest, or the owner of the car, the registered owner of the car, I mean, it'll pop up, and alert the officer when that vehicle goes by. Now, it's not to say that that's the one person driving the car, but again, it's a tool that helps us fight crime. So technology has been a terrific help as well. Finally, I have to tell you that there is not a police department in the United States of America that can do this job alone. In fact, if they don't have the help, the support, the trust of the public, they are not very effective. And in fact, we enjoy great public support here in Montgomery County. And one of the ways that we continue to build that support is that we work directly with the community on these crime-fighting initiatives. We're not out there doing it by ourselves. There are some communities in this country where witnesses and victims of crime won't come to court and testify. We don't have that problem here. People have confidence in the police department. They have confidence in the state's attorney's office, and people show up to help us fight crime. We've got great neighborhood watch organizations that are helping us every day be the eyes and ears of what's going on in this community. So the community support we have from the business community, homeowners associations, the faith community, we have partnerships with all of those folks in efforts to try and combat crime, to prevent crime, and to help us once a crime does occur. This kind of support, these kinds of partnerships are really, I think, what makes the big difference in terms of when you compare the numbers in Montgomery County and why they might be actually even, why they're better than the national average. I mean, crime's going down nationally, but crime in Montgomery County has been going down even more. And I think it's a lot of those effective partnerships that we have with the community that really gives us that advantage. And I'll just finish by once again, thanking the men and women of the Montgomery County Police Department, the cops, the detectives, the civilians we have, the civilian support we have. They are truly part of the backbone of this police department, and it is a real team effort, and I couldn't work with a better group of men and women. I'm so proud of them and the work they've done, and again, appreciate the support of the county executive and the council, great public safety partners with the sheriff, the municipal agencies, and the state's attorney's office. But as I say, we all do it for one reason, and that's to serve the community. And the fact that they give us back the support they give us, it just makes all the difference in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. We are immensely proud of the numbers that we see today, but this is not the end of where we are going. It is my anticipation and hope that we can drive these numbers even further down. Again, let me thank the state's attorney, the county council, the chief and his team for all that they've done in order to get us to this point, and there's more to come. We'll be around a few minutes to answer questions individually, so we'll stay for a bit. Thanks very much for coming out. Thank you.
I'm happy to answer any questions. Oh, we are? Okay. All right.
Group, is it good as a group so we can everybody get it? Chief, congratulations, first of all. I guess my first question, I got two. First is for, I guess, I see by the numbers, when you say going down, I don't anticipate your budget will have that number going down. Are we going to be looking at an increase in the police budget for the coming year?
Certainly there will be an increase. The question is how much, and we'll make an announcement about that on March 17th.
Yeah. And then my second question for you, Chief. The PCAT team that you talked about, I've heard great things about, and also the numbers that you talked about, we've all heard, and the license plate reader. But the flip side of that, so excuse me at a time, I'll give you the congratulations. Now I got to ask you the tough one. That some of these PCAT teams act as like jump out squads violating civil rights, and that the police reader material, everyone's heard about that kind of stuff. So can you address how the numbers are going down and address respect of civil rights for the residents of Montgomery County?
Well, first of all, we do, in fact, respect the civil rights of everybody that we serve. We will occasionally get complaints about specific cases. Those are investigated. But I can tell you that there is no trend or no indication whatsoever that these kinds of complaints are problematic within this police department. I would go back to when Tom Perez was the Attorney General in charge of civil rights, and he called Montgomery County Police Department a model police department. And you can't get much higher praise from the man that is in charge of making sure that police departments follow civil rights. One thing I neglected to tell you, and I want to be 100% transparent. You know, we reported 8 homicides, which is amazingly low. I got to tell you, we've already hit that number already this year. So clearly, and it's not about homicides being up so much this year as it is. That was such a low number. But will tell you that I just was notified yesterday that the medical examiner, there was a case where an individual was found on the side of 495 back in December. That has now been classified as a homicide. So that if it remains our homicide, it would be a 9th homicide for last year. However, there's still a question as to whether that homicide occurred in Montgomery County. It's certainly our case now, but the individual may have been killed somewhere else, and so that's still under investigation. But the number could change from 8 to 9 depending on how that case goes through. So I want to make sure that I mentioned that as well.
Chief, I want to, because the question had been raised to me earlier about increase in rapes, I think. And I think there's an explanation for that that people probably don't understand. Could you elaborate on that point, please?
Again, there's a couple of things. One, we have the good news about sexual assaults in Montgomery County, if there is good news, is that we have very few what are described as stranger rapes. Most of the sexual assaults that we have involve people that know each other or involve people that are related to each other. And we've shifted the responsibility for the domestic, what we call the domestic rapes, to our family crimes unit. And I think the work that they're doing has resulted in more people reporting those kinds of cases. We're certainly are able to detect more of those cases, and so that's a partial explanation for the numbers going up. The FBI also changed the definition of what a rape is after many years, and for many years, in order for something to be classified as a rape, you had to have a female victim. Now, actually, the gender of the victim does not matter. So you also see additional cases that previously were classified as some other type of crime would now be, certain of those cases will be classified as rapes no matter what the gender of the victim is. So there are a couple of explanations for those numbers.
Okay. Any other questions? Not?
Carter, how long do you all hold on to the information for the readers, and how many are out there with the reading, the police?
We have 20-some license plate readers, and we hold the information for a year.
Thank you.
And the information is used only for criminal investigations, and that's where I think a lot of folks are misinformed that somehow this information could be used for some other purpose. They are used only for criminal investigations and for no other reason, and no one but the police department has access to that information. All right, thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you.